All right, guys, I'm at the National Strip Conference. We're done. It's the end of it. And yesterday was just awesome classes. And last night a group of us went uptown and we did not go to a club to help pay college girl tuitions. You see what I did there? I winked to make you think did he or didn't he. But it was just so fun. It was a great group of people. We had a wonderful dinner and great classrooms yesterday. The round tables this year were super just lively guys. Just wonderful conversations going on. Guys collaborating and sharing ideas with each other. Very high participation this year. Normally on them round table events, when you try to get them things going, some years it's like pulling teeth or sitting at the dentist's office. It's not a library and it was just a really good thing. And all their topics this year, all the roundtable topics, all the keynote speakers this year were just spot on and wonderful topics. My takeaway class is I really enjoyed the strip tilling into a perennial. I've been fighting with it on my own farm for several years, trying to figure it out. And I think what I learned was we're doing it right on our farm. It's just our soil might need I need to figure out a way to get a couple passes on that strip somehow to make a better strip, and then modify the herbicide program to be more accommodating. And watching these guys here and what they're doing, it really confirmed my theories of how I was failing at that. And then I got to meet John Kempf, and so I was like, don't have sweaty hands, play it cool, like it's just another dude, it's not, and so I try not to be a nervous dork around him, and we had a great conversation. And so I'm gonna try and find 2 fields to set up next year. We're gonna buy their product. I don't believe in the whole exposure because I'm an influencer bull crap, and I'm not some paid shrill. But we're going to buy his products. We're going to put it on a couple fields. We're going to do their program that they say, and we're going to see how good it can work for us, and see if we can't solve some problems that we're having on some fields. And we got the equipment aisle behind us here, and so if anybody drops $5,000 across the table, I'll do a commercial for them. And so we'll just walk down here and just take a look at the equipment. And we're down here in Coralville, Iowa, and just a beautiful part of Iowa. I got to say, the drive down here was quite nice. It's a pretty state and stuff down here, and so I'm already excited for next year. I give up on this year. I'm out. It's done. It's over. Put a fork in it. But next year, I'm already excited. The wheels are already spinning. Like, oh man, we got to do this, and this, and so no, it's been super fun. I really enjoyed this conference, and like I said, got to shake so many people's just great people's hands, and I didn't know I was at like that status. I'm just kidding. But yeah, let's look at the equipment, and then I got to get home. All right, so the first guy here is Pete with Youngblood, and the most loved guy at the event. He sponsored the beer and bowl last night, so everybody's best friend this morning. For those that actually made it back, it was a tough crowd last night.
yeah, it was good.
Strip tiller, you know how strip tillers,
That's right.
I'm gonna get behind the camera. Pete's got the Yetter unit here, and I'm just gonna let him kind of walk around it and show us the unit. So
sure.
Go ahead.
So what Yetter's showing here in the booth at the conference is the 2984 Strip Freshener CC unit. So there was another model before this that a lot of people are familiar with that was just a straight strip freshener. It was springs and manual adjustments, things like that, whereas the CC unit gave us the control from the cap. So what that let us do is we've got an airbag up here, we've got an air cylinder back here to adjust the pressure in the basket, and as well as a clean sweep cylinder here to adjust the pressure on the row cleaner. So this unit's kind of designed for the guy that wants to go out and do some spring strips, You could run it in the fall, make the strips, set it different. So it's easy to set different. So with that, we've got up to a 4-inch depth. So that's going to let us get the row unit down. We could be doing something in the fall, come back in the spring, and we could even change up what product we're putting down. If we're putting something down, maybe we're just wanting to freshen it up, get rid of the debris that's gone over the strip from the winter, and change all those settings. It's going to let a guy do liquid. It's showing a liquid tube off to this side, and there's a dry on the other. So it's been good that way. We farm as well, so we're going to be building the bar and putting these row units on so we can go out with liquid in the spring, and then put that nitrogen down. It's controlled, it's in the strip, and it's not broadcast that way.
Yep.
So it gives us control, lets us do some variable rate, things like that, and then we can come right back behind it, just like you would if a guy was doing conventional tillage with a field cultivator.
Sure.
And just plant right into it. So we're hoping to see significant increase on our farm with that. But Andy Thompson at Yetter has been phenomenal.
Yes.
He helped us with demos this spring, showing a few growers how it worked, doing it in standing corn stalks, in rye cover crops, in standard bean ground.
With the coulter instead of the shank, it gives you that much easier to get through that high residue kind of stuff.
Yeah, the row cleaner and having some pressure controlled on that, and having this row unit ride level, we were able to move the trash, cut a slot, and then this actually makes a base, which is what's beautiful about it. If you take and start digging back the strip, in the spring we'd set this at like 2.5 inches with the plans to plant about 2 3/4 to 3 inches deep.
Okay.
And what it does is it leaves a firm base to it.
For your V openers to make.
Exactly. So what that does is rather than just putting it in fluffy soil, we're planting into firm, lets our row unit ride properly, cut it and close it, but yet the fertilizer's there, yet it's managing that residue and getting that out of the way.
Nice.
So it's phenomenal.
Nice. Pretty easy. I mean, you got your simple air adjustments.
And everything is up here in the cab. They've got a control box that you mount up there. You run the air lines out the back. So now you've got row unit down pressure, row cleaner up and down. We've got all of these controls right there in the cab. And once you get that figured out where you like it, it makes it really simple, and you're running 8 mile an hour or better.
Sure.
So get out there, put the liquid down, you're fast, unhook, hook up to the planter, and let the planter plant.
Yeah. And with the in-cab adjustments, you aren't trying to pull pins and, nothing wrong with pulling pins, but some of us still have to do that. But, there's no denying that a little tweak of the dial, we fine-tune that row cleaner to be, maybe we're moving too much dirt or not enough residue, instead of jumping out and
messing with it. I've heard for years guys go, I just hate getting out, and then I got to repin them. Well, then I'm too far the other way. Well, now what?
Let's be honest. The shark tooth are going to move trash like nobody's business.
Yes.
Moving this pin underneath there with that pin setup, with the paint in the hole and the hole. Sometimes you're like mother of pearl.
Yeah.
And so that's a slick deal.
Yeah.
That's a good looking unit. And so you still have the Maverick as well, the shank unit as well.
Yep. I was talking with Andy about it last night, actually, and it depends on the situation. This isn't going to be a shank unit. This isn't going to go deeper. So if a guy's looking for something to
it's a nice complement, an option that Yetter has.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the idea. Is we have different. There's the Magnum on that banner there for high speed anhydrous application or dry.
Sure.
If you're looking at you just want to get it in, it can be put the row cleaner on to make a wider strip, or just getting the fertilizer in. So there's things like that, and then there's the Maverick if you want the traditional style strip like you do.
Or if you're a guy if you're, let's just say you're in South Dakota and you're running the strip freshener as your strip till unit, maybe you have it behind a Challenger 765 if you're watching, but maybe that would give a little more aggressive opportunity than the strip freshener.
It could, yeah. I mean, you're going to be able to have more adjustment, do some things. It's very, very similar.
Okay.
But you'll notice that, like on the traditional one, you got springs. You don't have the control with the airbag.
Oh, sure.
And then you don't have the gauge wheels either.
Yep.
So that's,
there you go.
Controlling that depth is better with this.
Yeah. It keeps the fertilizer in more of a root zone in case
right.
any of
So
that.
it allows you to have more control, so you can manipulate and change settings to get where you really want.
Yeah. Cool. It's a good looking unit.
Yeah, I think the guys at Yetter did a fantastic job, and if you guys have questions, my go-to is, like say, is Andy Thompson. He's phenomenal with this stuff, and he challenges me daily.
Sure.
Well, but did you think of this?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I guess I didn't think through the whole process, so those guys are awesome at answering questions.
Yes,
They'll be here
and
all
he's
day.
been at it for a long time.
Yes.
And how do they get a hold of you?
So my website's out there. It's youngbloodag.com, and my number's on there, and
Okay.
and everything gets forwarded to myself. So I'm one of those guys that, yeah, the hours on the door don't necessarily mean I'm not going to pick up the phone. And I enjoy it enough that, you do the job, and that's how you find us. And like I was telling you beforehand, I enjoy the conversation and the opportunity to see what's really going to fit for a guy. Maybe this doesn't work at all. Maybe he needs something different.
Yep.
We can talk through it and get him what he needs.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Pete.
You bet.
We'll let you get back to work, and we'll keep moving. We're at the Schlagel booth, and they said they've had these out for quite a long time. They're a no-till gauge wheel to help in specific conditions, and so it's not just a broad sale type approach. They'll work with you to see if them can be a good solution for you. They've got the improved closing, and that's the thing with the closing system is when we're in soil health, that soil has structure. And the big thing we run into is it's harder to close that trench, and so we got a few accessories they offer. They got their strip till row unit, but this has more of a strip freshener pin. Here would be their standard row unit, pin adjust on the row cleaners, pin adjust on the shank, and then your berming disc setup is adjustable there, and then your adjustable conditioner out the back side. And so there you got your mole knife that you can run liquid or dry option, and then you can come back in the spring with the freshener option if you need to be on that 2-pass system. And so that's kind of a slick idea. I like that idea. It gives the guy options. All right, I got Don with Vulcan Equipment here, and he's just going to give us a little tour of their row unit.
So we had designed this about 15 years ago. We began using it on our own farm to go out in the field and make spring strips, and had interest from some other local farmers. We'd already been manufacturing for 20 plus years, so it worked out well with us, and we started marketing it. It's primarily a spring strip till tool. We use it to either create new strips in the spring or to freshen fall-made strips. We have attachments here to apply liquid fertilizer on. So we start out here with the row cleaners, clear the residue away. 3 coulter system, 25 wave coulters to lightly till the soil, and the rolling basket back here acts as the gauge wheel, and then it will also do a little bit of crumbling as far as the surface of the strip goes. We do recommend running shallow because it slightly tills the top couple inches, and we like to see you plant under that seed so that you will have good seed to soil contact and undisturbed soil, and go from there. We do apply some 32% with it in the strip, some micronutrients. So we've been selling these for 8-9 years now, and we're from Central Illinois. Strip till in our area is a little slow at getting going, but around the country it is really, I believe, increasing at a rapid rate. So I think we're in a good market. Sales have been really good this year, obviously better than prior.
How deep do you go?
Okay, our recommendation is 2 inches or less. They say to plant corn 2 to 2.5 inches deep. So if you put the seed right below that, you've got the surface condition. It helps it warm up, dry out, and you're placing the seed in untouched soil, undisturbed, where the moisture stays. The seed to soil contact is better. The planter works better because the closing system and everything works better in a well-conditioned.
You're making that nice conditioned strip right on top.
Exactly.
You can put a little bit of fertilizer with it, liquid or dry.
Either one. The majority is probably liquid, but either one. And it's a good way to add some nitrogen and some micronutrients without putting it on your planter and weighing your planter down.
A little more compact unit, lighter weight, a little less horsepower required.
5 to 7 horse a road, what we say, that's probably even less than that, but that's what we use for a good figure there.
Nice. Don, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Thanks for stopping.
All right, guys, I'm with Peter. I don't know if we say it's the king of strip till row units, but it is one that has really stood out over the last few years or quite a while now. And around Minnesota, I think it was one of the more popular ones that I see when I'm touring and meeting other farmers. And it is the Kuhn Krause Gladiator. Did I say that properly? Kuhn Krause?
Kuhn Krause Gladiator with the ST
right.
Pro 2 row unit.
So I'll let Peter, I'll back up and get behind the camera if you just want to kind of give us a walkthrough of this behemoth, and we'll see what we see.
Yeah, so this is the ST Pro 2 row unit. We just launched this last year, going out. The first few production machines went out this spring. The row unit itself and the Gladiator has been around since 2010, so as John was saying, a lot of history with this machine, a lot of customers satisfied across the US, across Canada, and even other parts of the world. Some of the things that really set the ST Pro 2 apart from some of the other units on the market: it's completely maintenance free, so we don't have any grease zerks across the row unit at all, and it's also wrenchless adjustment. So anyone that's been around these machines will know that adjustments like the float control for these berm builder blades here, you can adjust it just with a simple handle there, and the angle of those blades as well can be adjusted, and even the depth, we can lift that latch up and move that shank up and down between 6 and 12 inches. So it almost invites a person to adjust the row unit to suit the conditions they're in. What we always want to get away from is a situation where a person's strip tilling, conditions change, the field changes, and they just sort of, well, you know, I'll just keep going because I don't want the hassle of getting out and making adjustments. With a machine like this, you can get out and make those adjustments very quickly and be strip tilling again. Depth control of this row unit comes from the reel at the back, not the coulter at the front. So the coulter at the front actually moves independently of the rest of the row unit. All we want that coulter to do is slice through residue so that we can move that residue aside using the row cleaners here. The row cleaners are floating independently of the coulter as well, so they're always seeking that depth just to move that residue to the side and leave us a clean strip. The shank here, obviously this is what we're going to use to loosen that soil, build the strip, and also what we're using for nutrient placement. We've got this display row unit set up with a dry tube. We could add a liquid or an anhydrous tube to that, or we could run a liquid and an anhydrous together. So you can always pick and choose pick and mix 2 types of fertilizer on the row unit. And those fertilizer tubes, you can adjust the depth within the strip as well. So depending on what you're putting down, where you want to apply it, you can really man that nutrient very precisely in the strip.
So we can drop that shank to 12 inches and pull our fertilizer up to 6 inches.
Correct.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
The reel at the back, this is something else which is really a little different from anything else on the market with these chains on here. One of the things with strip till is we always want to build first. Especially when we're strip tilling in the fall, we want to leave a good prominent berm over that strip so that as it settles over the winter period, we don't end up with a gully to run water down and wash out. We start with a raised strip, it can settle somewhere slightly raised to flat in the spring. If we just start with this flat strip, it'll settle directly into a gully. It can only go one direction. The chains then, we build that nice berm with our closing blades here, and those chains are able to form around that berm. We can break clods up, we don't scalp the top off and flatten it out.
Nice.
One of the other things about those chains is that they cut and they move and they shed soil, so it's really difficult to plug this reel. In fact, our director of marketing tells a great story. He's involved in the initial development of this years ago, and he tells a great story. They thought they'd got this row unit which was plug-free, and he was watching one of the prototypes run, and he saw this big ball of soil and residue, and he's like, man, what's happened? We thought we're ready to go, and it's plugged up, and he got round to the back of the machine, and there was a fence post stuck up his back. So I'm not going to say that's the only thing that's ever plugged one, but it's exceptionally plug-free.
Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of our customers will recognise.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So this is new to me.
Okay.
What's going on up here?
This display box here is a wireless blockage monitoring system for fertilizer.
Oh,
So on the back of this fertilizer hose, you've got this red donut that you can see here.
Okay.
This is a wireless blockage monitor. This is the display in the cab. If we get low flow or no flow on any row, it'll beep in the cab and it'll tell you which row's plugged.
Okay.
And it's really nice because it's completely wireless.
Nice.
So yeah, it uses the radio frequency between the display and between the blockage monitors, and you have one on every row. And there's very few dry fertilizer systems we sell now where the customer or the dealer doesn't just add this.
Sure.
Relatively low cost for the overall value of the machine.
Yeah, and fertilizer is only $1,000 a ton, and it really has no reflection on crop production. So
Yeah.
what's it really matter if we plug a row or not?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
But yeah, I'm gonna capture your row unit running there quick.
Yep.
That's we just missed the footage.
But there you can see the depth of adjustment there. A closer view of the using placements. And that one, you can see we've got that set.
We talked for quite a while.
Yeah. There it's running. There's no sound, so I'll just make the brr, brr, brr sound while the tractor goes. But yeah, that's a really good looking unit, and so Peter, thank you very much.
John, it's great to meet you.
Yeah,
I always enjoyed watching your videos on YouTube for some years.
$20 well spent. $20 well
That's
spent.
right. Yeah.
That's right. But no, that's fantastic, beautiful looking machine, and like I said, fantastic reputation in the area. It's good to work with good companies. You know, we don't sell for anybody. We're not doing it. All we're doing is just saying, hey, we've had good luck with these people. Give people a try. You know what I mean? And them guys know that. And so,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, thank you for helping us to promote the industry and promote the machine as well.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.